out on the highway, throw myself a ride. Been too long in New York City, my mind is a taking a ride. I wanna go back to Texas, the cosmic cowgirls play. I wanna have some fun in a good old Texas way. Down in Groovin's paradise, Groovin's paradise, Groovin's paradise. Groovin's paradise. Groovin's paradise.
Come on in, folks. Make yourself at home. Well, hello, everybody. We're doing our second part of our record store day, second drop today. Got a lot of nice responses on the first video, and we got a lot of good new titles here, a lot of them actually. So we're going to get to work real quick here. Again, let's just go over the ground rules for record store day real quickly. It is this coming Saturday, July 17th. We will be open at 10 o'clock. We are currently taking reservations for spots every 30 minutes. We're going to let 8 or 10 people in at a time this time, and also starting an hour later at 10. So there you go. But send us a note on Instagram or Facebook. Don't send us a note here to YouTube, because I don't get any notifications when you guys comment on our channel, so I won't know that you've done that. But I do get it on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll put you on there. You can call me at the store too. I'm here from 12 to 8 Wednesday and Thursday, and 12 to 9 on Friday. And let's just get started, man. We've got a ton of records here, so we're gonna have to hucklebuck through these babies. Start off with the Sisters of Mercy. This is a BBC collection of their stuff from BBC sessions from 82 to 84. Sort of the early years of the band. 84 is kind of when the classic Floodland sort of era began, with Wayne Hussey playing guitar in the band, and that band is represented on the third session of here for the Peel sessions from 84. And you know, proto-goth band, very important over time, and still active. Andrew Eldritch still has a version of it, I think, that he tours with, and very popular, and their stuff is kind of hard to get these days. So here you go. It's a three-sided record, 12 tracks previously unavailable on LP.
A soul singer stands on the stage.
Here we go. This is, again, these really dark records to start off with, cover-wise anyway, and a little bit in tone as well. This is Lou Reed, Set the Twilight Reeling. There you go. There's the title. This is his 96 record, I think, or 97. It's his, he did 2 more records after this before he died. This is a pretty good record. The title track is actually one of Lou's greatest later songs. And, you know, Lou's stuff sounds really good when you go back and listen to it, most of it. There's a few clunkers, but even the records that I thought were clunkers, except for like Mistrial and a couple of those, still sound, they sound better now. And Lou's legacy is firm and well established, and nobody's going to destroy it. This is worth having. It's the first time it's been on vinyl, too. Set the Twilight Reeling. Here's the Fear record. Fear the record. You know, classic LA hardcore record, though, you know, there was always some question about their authenticity. I mean, Lee Ving, the singer, was a frustrated actor who was in his 30s when they made this first record here. But it is a classic of the kind and very well known for being the band that Belushi booked on Saturday Night Live, and they pretty much destroyed the place. I Don't Care About You, Fuck You, that's a great song. New York Is All Right, if you like saxophones and being pushed in front of the subway, another great song. I Love Living in the City, another great song. Let's Have a War. There's some really good songs on this record. Fear the Record, and it comes with a Christmas record and a stencil. And it's pressed on multicolored vinyl, vomit-colored vinyl, I would guess. That's what that means. There's always a Hawkwind record, and I always buy the Hawkwind records. This is their whole set from the Greasy Truckers record, which was a really hard to find record in the early 70s that was put out privately. These guys threw a festival and then put out a record for it. And I believe, I said that this is that set from there, but I actually think that this is from the big party beforehand. It's live at the Roundhouse. Maybe I just don't understand. No. Yeah, and the show that day was Hawkwind, Brinsley Schwartz, and Man. Some pretty great bands of that era. And this is Hawkwind at their peak, 1972. It's got Lemmy in the band still. It's got Brainstorm on it. It's got Master of the Universe on it. Got You Shouldn't Do That on it. What more do you need to know? It's a double record, and it's Hawkwind. 1973, 72 is when it is. That's a must-have.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house.
Here's a cool record. This is it's Déjà Vu, but it's not Déjà Vu. Déjà Vu all over again, I guess you could say. This is the alternative Déjà Vu. It's just like the Fleetwood Mac alternative Rumors. It's just different takes of a familiar record in the sequence that they appear on the record, but versions that you're not as familiar with. And, you know, I mean, get musicians like Stills and Young jamming during these songs, and there's going to be some really cool variations on here. So I'd say this is a really good one to check out. The extra Déjà Vu all over again. Oh, here's Dave Davies' record. This is his fourth solo record from 2002. It's called Bug, and this was the last one he did before he had a stroke. And he's recovered pretty well these days. And, you know, Dave, he was never really able to get his solo career going, but he was always responsible for some of the best songs on the Kinks records. Even though Ray always got the lion's share of the attention, Dave wrote Death of a Clown, he wrote Mindless Child of Motherhood, he wrote a bunch of great songs. I'm Not Like Everybody Else. Actually, I think Ray wrote that and Dave sang it, I'm not sure. Anyway, this is Bug, 2002 solo record. If you're Kinks completist, you're going to have it.
I'm a voodoo child. Lord, I'm a voodoo child.
All right, Frank Marino, Real Live, Volume 2. Frank Marino just retired. It seems that he's having some health issues because it was a real quick retirement. He canceled all the shows he had going until the end of the year and announced his retirement. So that doesn't sound good. This was a live record that from 2001. You know, Marino's a Canadian guy. He's one of the Hendrix, I always hate to call them imitators, because that's not fair to either them or Hendrix. He's one of those guys that was extremely influenced by Hendrix and made some fairly interesting records. Some would say that his playing was too indebted to Hendrix, but a lot of people would argue with that, and everybody loves to hear the guy play. This is a live record, and it's just nothing but him playing. Frank Marino live, 2001. Now, on the subject of guitar players, here you go. Allman Brothers Band. This is the final note, and what this is it's basically a handheld cassette recording of the last Allman Brothers show with Duane, and that's live in Orange Mills, Maryland, on October 17th, 1971. Duane was killed at the end of October 1971, and of course the Allman Brothers were never the same after that. So this is basically a historic document, but it's also Duane's last show, and one you'd want. And it comes with a bonus track of, there's a version of Stormy Monday that was recorded here in Austin on September 28th, 1971, when the Allmans played the old Municipal Auditorium, which is no longer there. So anyway, local color, iconic band, final show with the master. It's a must-have. Allman Brothers Band, the final note. Here's another one, another live record, and a really cool one. This is Aretha, live in Philly, 1972. This is the year after her Live at the Fillmore West record, which is regarded as like a real breakthrough for her. And this is really kind of at a career peak for her. It's got some medleys on it, lots of her hits. And you know, this was just, she's just at a peak. She had a great band going, and if you're looking for some Aretha, this was released on CD, I believe, 15 years ago or so, but this is the first time it's ever been on vinyl, and this is something that you definitely want. Aretha, and it's limited, so when it's gone, it's gone.
In the mind of the back said everyone attack and they turn into a ballroom blitz. And the girl in the corner said, boy.
Now here's a personal favorite of mine, the Mighty Mighty Sweet. And this is kind of an odds and sods record from them. It's called Platinum Rare. It's got got all the hits on it. Some different versions, single versions, different mixes. You know, the Sweet sort of dismissed as a bubblegum band at the time, but over time they've started to get their due as a classic glam rock band of that era. Sadly, they're all dead except for Andy Scott. He's the only guy that's still alive, the guitar player, and he does have a version of the Sweet that's going now. But anyway, a great band, and this has got a lot of their hits on it and different versions of it. And if you're a Sweet fan like I am, you're definitely going to want this. Great cover too. Platinum Rare, the Sweet.
And walk away. Oh, Lord.
Oh, this is Ann Peebles. This is her first record. And, you know, the very definition of Southern Soul, Ann Peebles, produced by Gene Miller, engineered by Willie Mitchell, high rhythm section, classic songs. My man, he's a loving man. Give me some credit. and went on to have, I feel like breaking up somebody's home. I'm going to tear your playhouse down. I Can't Stand the Rain. Just a ton of great songs. Again, with a high rhythm section, so it's got that Al Green groove happening. If you're into Southern Soul, this is Ann Peebles. You really don't have to tell you who Ann Peebles is.
Lord knows that I've been trying.
Here's a nice one that's never been out on vinyl either. This is a tribute to Curtis Mayfield that came out after his tragic accident in the early 90s when the lighting rig fell on him at a show and he was paralyzed. It's got everybody on it: Elton John, Rod Stewart, B.B. King, Aretha, Isley Brothers, Eric Clapton, Springsteen, Whitney Houston, Winwood, Gladys Knight, Lenny Kravitz, all doing Curtis Mayfield songs. And this is as these tribute records go, this is one of the absolute best, and one that you definitely are going to want to check out. Superb record. Great songs, great performances. Curtis Mayfield, tribute. A lot of cool jazz records this time. Here's one here, Charles Lloyd. Charles Lloyd is still going. He's got a band with Bill Frisell in it now, and he made a record with Lucinda Williams doing vocals on it a few years ago. This is from, what, doesn't say what year this is, but it's got Gabor Szabo playing guitar as well, the great sort of gypsy jazz guitar player. Man, these Charles Lloyd records, they're all really, really good. Ron Carter on bass on here too. They're sort of genre breaking records. All of them really interesting. He was sort of the hippie jazz man of the era, but that's not fair to him either. He did some really interesting, great groundbreaking records. He's a reed player. He plays saxophone and flute. Looks like he mostly plays sax on this record. Anyway, Charles Lloyd, I think that's from like 63. Is that when it's from? 65. All right.
Never guessed it got this good. Wondered if it ever would.
In the continuing series of Cure picture discs, here we have Wild Mood Swings. This is a 90s record from them. Hard to find on vinyl. And if you like them, there it is. That's not one of the better Cure records, I don't think. But it's not bad either. They've really managed to make consistently good records through their whole career. I'm not a huge fan, so the later stuff I'm not as hot on, but if you're a fan, these records punch all your buttons anyway. And this is a cool one. Wild Mood Swings, that's mid-90s, and I think this might be the first time it's been on vinyl. I'm not sure. Picture disc. As the Palaces Burn, Lamb of God. Now, I'm not a metal guy, but I do like what I've heard of Lamb of God, and I know that the metal guys just love this band. One of the more successful of the later wave of heavy metal records. This is their... It doesn't say which one of their records this is. And I don't know well enough to tell you when it came out. I think it's one of the early ones, though, like 2001 or 2002. Should have done my research before I came on here. Dr. John, Sun, Moon, and Herbs. This is, I think, his 4th studio record. And this one has been quite expanded. It's been expanded into a 3-record set. This was the last of the sort of gree juju records that the Doctor made. The record after this was Gumbo, where he did all the classic New Orleans songs, and started to move into more of a New Orleans funk direction after that. But this is a classic, just like the other 3 early records. Very spooky, very interesting. And like I say, this has 2 records of bonus jams and stuff. And that's how these records were put together. Is these guys, Dr. John was an A-list studio guy in Los Angeles. And he was playing in Sonny and Cher's band at the time. And so was Sidney Batiste, was a reed player, and he was the musical director. So those guys, the guys in Sonny and Cher's band, and a bunch of the other top-line LA session guys, and by this time, Mac Rabenak had become well enough situated and known in the rock community that the rock stars started showing up too. So there's all kinds of different rock guys on this record. And what they would do is they'd just get in the studio and jam these swampy jams, and then Mac would put these gree hoodoo lyrics on top of it. So what this is basically is just couple records of just great musicians jamming in the studio with some real funky voodoo shit. And that sounds pretty good to me. I don't know about you guys. I'm in. Sun, Moon, and Herbs, 3-record set.
He called me baby.
Candi Staton, Trouble, Heartbreaks, and Sadness. It says, rare cuts from the Fame Sessions Masters. Well, you guys know about Fame Studios. That's the studio in Muscle Shoals where Aretha Franklin and so many other people recorded, and the Swampers, and great band there. And this is Candi Staton was another one of those Southern soul singers we're talking about. She also, interestingly enough, she covered a lot of country songs. So, and several of those are on here, including her version of Jolene and her version of We Had It All, which is a song Waylon Jennings covered, and a bunch of other, really blurring the lines between Southern soul and country. And the lines are pretty blurry in that anyway. And great singer, came out of the gospel world, of course. And, you know, she had a couple of minor regional hits, kind of overlooked, but great singer. And this is some of her classic stuff. Rare cuts from the Fame Sessions. Oh, Shaun Cassidy, Wasp. Now, you know, Harry Styles is getting a lot of acclaim for sort of breaking the mold as far as pretty boy pop star boy band guys go, making kind of different records. But Shaun did it first. His brother David was, you know, a huge teen idol, was in the Partridge Family. Shaun was in the television version of the Hardy Boys, and he had a couple of really big records, like teen idols do. And then it was kind of, those girls, his fans went from being 10 to being 14, and that's a big change. So in an attempt to sort of make a career for himself moving forward, he recorded this record with Todd Rundgren and his band Utopia, and did you know, cover of Bowie's Rebel Rebel, Talking Heads song The Book I Read, Who's So Sad About Us, Ian Hunter Once Bitten Twice Shy. Interesting record. It's reasonably successful. You know, it's not a completely organic mix. Clearly, it was thought about in over some meetings, rather than just you know, Shaun coming in and being inspired by Utopia or whatever. Clearly calculated, but a pretty damn good record. And he sings in this kind of Iggy voice. It's kind of cool. If you've heard about this record and you're interested, well, here's a chance to pick it up, because it didn't sell much, so you don't see much of it, and it's pretty good.
Miles from nowhere. Guess I'll take my time.
Man, here we go. Now here's a record that people have been asking for 50 years, and it is the songs from Harold and Maude. Harold and Maude, probably one of my top 10 movies, probably way up there, maybe top 5.
You can do what you want. The opportunity's on. And if you find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all true, and you can make it undo. You see, it's easy.
You know, I just can't tell you how empowering it was for a little 13-year-old weirdo in Mississippi to walk into this movie and walk out going, wow, there are people that view the world the same way I do. And we're fucked up, but I'm not alone. So, and man, these songs, they're all available on Cat Records. There's not an awful lot that was exclusive to the movie, I don't think. But man, it's just, these are the songs from the movie. And if you're a fan of the movie, you've been waiting a long time to get them on a single record so that you can just relive that experience. If you've never seen the movie, you got to watch the movie. It's an incredible movie. The songs probably give as much heft to the story as any soundtrack I've ever experienced in a movie. So this is a big one. You know, this is just a classic film, classic songs, and never been available before. Harold and Maude. And again, watch it if you get the chance. Here's another one of the great jazz records. This is Miles Davis. It's called Champions. And these are outtakes from the Jack Johnson series sessions, which is his most rock and roll type stuff with Sonny Shorrock and John McLaughlin playing guitars and Billy Cobham on drums. It's a really strong record, Jack Johnson. And this is outtakes from it, which have now been titled after other boxers. Duran, Sugar Ray, Johnny Bratton, Ali. Man, that's a great record. And I can just tell you, this is classic Miles era, and this is going to be great. And look at that cover, man. That is some classic Miles shit right there.
All too beautiful. It's all too beautiful.
All right. This is cool. The Small Faces, Complete Greatest Hits. It's been hard to get a Small Faces record that actually has all of their hits on it. They didn't really have that many hits in America, and they've kind of been overlooked, and their stuff is all, you know, they're the classic band that signed bad record deals, and they just have never been very well served by the reissues, and people have just never been able to experience their greatness from beginning to end, but they were absolutely in the top tier of 60s rock and roll bands. Steve Marriott, Ian McLagan, our local hero here. Ronnie Lane also lived here for a while. Kenny Jones, great drummer that went on to be in The Who. Steve Marriott, probably the greatest front man in rock and roll, I think. you know, I'm always getting in arguments about that, but I just think that there's nobody commands a crowd better than Steve. And this has all their great hits, everything from What You Gonna Do About It all the way through Tin Soldier and Lazy Sunday and Afterglow. If you like them, you've probably got most of this, but if you don't have any of their stuff, this is the one to get, man. Great, and I'm so glad that there's finally a legit collection of Small Faces stuff out here. Bill Evans, they always have one per record store day. Most of them are taken from a tour of Europe that he did in, I think, 1968. And they just basically recorded pretty much every show. This is a 3-record set, and called Behind the Dikes, with Eddie Gomez on bass, I'm sorry, and Marty Morell on drums. In fact, I think this must be from a different session than the last one, because I think there was a different drummer than Marty Morell on that one. But anyway, I mean, Bill Evans is just one of the great jazz pianists of all time. This is him at a peak, and all of these records are superbly recorded and packaged and really great. All right, here's another jazz record. This guy is one of my favorites, Rashaan Roland Kirk. This is a fairly early record in its discography, I guess. It's a live from 1963. This is right when he was beginning to experiment with playing 2 horns at one time. If you're not familiar with Rashaan, he's a pretty amazing guy. Blind guy from birth. He had this innate, incredible ability to play 3 horns. He could play 3 melodies at once on 3 different horns. He just had taught himself circular breathing and being blind. His other senses were more acute, and he just had one of those incredible ears too. And this is him kind of at the beginning of that phase when he's starting to play a bunch of those instruments. And this is live at Ronnie Scott's in 1963. Another interesting thing about this is it features Malcolm Cecil on bass. And if you're a Stevie Wonder fan, you'll know that Malcolm Cecil was one of the 2 guys from Tonto's Expanding Headband, the electronic collective there in London that put together most of the sequencing on Stevie Wonder's classic records and helped him with all the synthesizer parts on those records. So some really interesting history on this, and again, I'm not familiar with this particular period but of Roland Kirk stuff, but the guy's a genius. And if you don't have anything by him, it's a good place to start, I would guess. 1963, live at Ronnie Scott's, Roland Kirk.
Hey, oh, let's go. Hey, oh, let's go.
So there's always a Ramones live record, but I'm excited about this one because this is from 1980. Which is the End of the Century tour, and that's one of my favorite Ramones records, and I'm in the minority with that, but it is absolutely maybe my favorite one, and this is live in 1980, so they're doing 6 or 7 songs from that record, and as their tours went on, they really only wound up doing a couple of songs from that record. If they did Rock and Roll High School and maybe Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio were the only ones that they left in their set after that. But anyway, another great live Ramones record. 23 songs on 2 sides. That's the way they did it back then. And I saw them in 1980. This is a show from, it doesn't say where it was. Oh, it's Sydney, Australia, July 8th, 1980. I saw them earlier than that, I think. I think I saw them in April or May in the States. They were great. I love the Ramones. Glad to have that one. And finally, one that's pretty familiar to everybody. This is a nice sealed 180 gram yellow vinyl remastered Hot Rocks. And it's currently not in print, so if you're looking for a good copy of Hot Rocks, because they're kind of beat up now, most of the ones you see, here you go. And it's a nice piece to have. Great collection. Anyway, that's going to wrap things up for us. I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of you guys this weekend. We've had a really good response to our videos. I appreciate you guys giving feedback in the comments. Like and subscribe if you can. And I hope we see you on Saturday for Record Store Day, 10 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.